Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
If you could see the video just 1 minute before we turn on the camera sometime today. Okay.
It's Canto 2, Chapter 10. Oh Lord. Text 9. Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. That's the chapter title. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Anyway, alright, text 9. All three of the above mentioned stages of different living entities are interdependent. In the absence of one, another is not understood, but the Supreme Being who sees every one of them as the shelter of the shelter is independent of all. And therefore he is the Supreme Shelter. Purport. There are innumerable living entities, one dependent on the other in the relationship of the controlled and the controller. Hi Jason. But without the medium of perception, no one can know or understand who is the controlled and who is the controller. For example, the sun controls the power of our vision. We can see the sun because the sun has its body, and the sunlight is useful only because we have eyes. Without our having eyes, the sunlight is useless, and without sunlight, the eyes are useless. Thus, they are interdependent, and none of them is independent. Therefore, the natural question arises concerning who made them interdependent. The one who has made such a relationship of interdependence must be ultimately completely independent. As stated in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the ultimate source of all interdependent objectives is a complete independent subject. This ultimate source of all interdependence is the supreme truth of Paramatma, the Super Soul, who is not dependent on anything else. He is Swasrayasraya. He is only dependent on himself, and thus he is the supreme shelter of everything. Although Paramatma and Brahman are subordinate to Bhagavan, because Bhagavan is Purushottama, or the super person. He is the source of the Super Soul also. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:18, Lord Krishna says that he is the Purushottama and the source of everything, and thus it is concluded that Sri Krishna is the ultimate source and shelter of all entities, including the Super Soul and Supreme Brahman. Even accepting that there is no difference between the Super Soul and the individual soul, the individual soul is dependent on the Super Soul for being liberated from the illusion of material energy. The individual is under the clutches of illusory energy, and therefore, although qualitatively one with the Super Soul, he is under the illusion of identifying himself with matter. And to get out of this illusory conception of factual life, the individual soul has to depend on the Super Soul to be recognized as one with him. In that sense also, the Super Soul is the supreme shelter, and there is no doubt about it.
So interesting points being made that specifically we can understand that the Supreme Lord is one without a second, but he is divisible into three primary parts, either his personal form or his localized form in the heart of every living entity, known as the Super Soul or Paramatma, or his form as impersonal, which is known as Brahman, and which permeates everything, which means that God's energy is permeating everything because he has created everything. Just like, even though we may not be personally present, if we make if you make a pot, or you make a vase of flowers, or you build a house, or you do some or you even make a cake or something, you're not personally present, but your energy is present because you've put energy into making that thing. So when someone sees it, they're like, wow, you made that? So even though you're not present, excuse me, but your energy is present. And the Super Soul is an expansion of God that's present in everyone's heart. So we can understand this is how God or the Supreme Being always knows what our prayers are, always knows what we're thinking, knows what we're doing, and also knows how to direct us, or tries to give us insights or guidance, intuition, and how to act. And when we may pray, or we may say, oh, I wish I knew how to do this, or I wish I could figure out how to get out of this situation or get into this situation, then we hear that voice sometimes inside that gives us some guidance or instruction. So that's the super soul, or Paramatma. And the Bhagavan aspect is the personal aspect, which means God is a person. God has personality, just like we have personality. But God is the supreme person, right?
Yeah.
Like that. Although we may think we're the supreme person, but we're not, unfortunately, no matter what our false ego and false pride tells us. But no, we're not, unfortunately. We're not the super person. Superman's not the super person. God's the super person. So it's quite simple. Anything you'd like to add or subtract?
No, I think you said it all.
Okay. The individual living entity, the jiva. The individual living entity, the jiva, so that's what the living entity, the soul in every person is called, the jiva, is always dependent on the super soul, Paramatma. Because the individual soul forgets his spiritual identity, whereas the super soul, Paramatma, does not forget his transcendental position. So, like we were just saying, so us, the little jivas, little souls, we're forgetful. We're forgetful of our eternal position and relationship with God, and therefore we wander through the material world, wander through life, we wander through life wondering, oh, what about this? What about that? If only this, if only that. But actually, because we're lost and we're confused. But the Paramatma, that little piece of God that's within all of us, He's trying to guide us at every step and help us to understand what may be the right choices to make or the wrong choices to make. And in that way, we're dependent on Him. And He doesn't forget, because He's God. He certainly doesn't forget. In the Bhagavad Gita, these separate positions of the Jivatma and the Paramatma are specifically mentioned. In the 4th chapter, Arjuna, the Jiva soul, is represented as forgetful of his many, many previous births, but the Lord, the super soul, is not forgetful. The Lord even remembers when He taught the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god some billions of years before. The Lord can remember such millions and billions of years as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:26 as follows. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavisyani chabutani mam tu veda nakaschana. The Lord, in His eternal blissful body of knowledge, is fully aware of all that happened in the past, that which is going on at the present, and also what will happen in the future. But in spite of His being the shelter of both the Paramatma and Brahman, persons with a poor fund of knowledge are unable to understand Him as He is. So, yes, it's very difficult to understand who is the Supreme Person, who is God. To get in touch with that Paramatma within us, we have to spend time endeavoring to try to do that. Unfortunately, most people spend time on the, whatever it is these days, the Xbox or the PlayStation, PS, video game, or watching TV, or doing so many things other than searching for something higher in their life, searching for that connection like that.
The propaganda of the identity of cosmic consciousness with the consciousness of the individual living entities is completely misleading, because even such a person or individual soul as Arjuna could not remember his past deeds, although he is always with the Lord. And what can the tiny ordinary man, falsely claiming to be one with the cosmic consciousness, know about his past, present, and future?
Yeah, so we also take many births. So the soul is eternal. that we know from every religion in the world, that the soul is eternal. It doesn't die, it can't be killed. So even when the body dies, that the soul carries on. The soul is eternal. And according to the ancient texts of India, from Vedas, from the Bhagavatam, that basically that soul transmigrates from one body to another, and in that way takes on many, many different births, hoping to eventually learn the lessons that one needs to learn so that one can no longer enter into the cycle of birth and death, known as samsara in Sanskrit, but one can return to the eternal abode like that. Text 10. After separating the different universes, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, Mahavishnu, which came out of the causal ocean, the place of appearance for the first Purusha avatar, entered into each of the separate universes, desiring to lie on the created transcendental water, Garbudak. Purport. After analysis of the living entities in the Supreme Lord, Paramatma, the independent source of all other living beings, Srila Shukadeva Goswami is now presenting the prime necessity for devotional service to the Lord, which is the only occupational business of all living entities. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and his plenary portions and extensions of plenary portions are non-different from one another, and thus the supreme independence is in each and every one of them. In order to prove this, Shukadeva Goswami, as promised to King Parikshit, describes herein the independence of the Purusha avatar, personality of Godhead, even in the sphere of the material creation. Such activities of the Lord are also transcendental, and therefore they are also Leela, or pastimes of the Absolute Lord. Such pastimes of the Lord are very conducive to the hearers for self-realization in the field of devotional service. Some may argue, then why not relish the transcendental Leela of the Lord as exhibited in the land of Mathura and Vrindavan, which are sweeter than anything in the world? Very nice. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur replies that the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan are meant to be relished by advanced devotees of the Lord. Neophyte devotees will misunderstand such supreme transcendental activities of the Lord, and therefore the Lord's pastimes in the material sphere related to the pastimes in the material sphere, related to creation, maintenance, and destruction, are verily relishable by the Prakriti, or mundane devotees of the Lord. Oh, sorry, not Prakriti, it's Prakrita. Prakrita. As the yoga system mainly based on bodily exercises is meant for the person who is too much attached to the bodily conception of existence. Similarly, the Lord's pastimes related to the creation and destruction of the material world are for those who are too materially attached. For such mundane creatures, the function of the body and the functions of the cosmic world through physical laws in relationship with the Lord are also therefore included in understanding of the lawmaker, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The scientists explain the material functions by so many technological terms of material law, but such blind scientists forget the lawmaker. The Srimad Bhagavatam points out the lawmaker. One should not be amazed by the mechanical arrangement of the complicated engine or dynamo, but one should praise the engineer who creates such a wonderful working machine. That is the difference between the devotee and the non-devotee. Devotees are always full with praising the Lord, who directs the physical laws. Sorry.
In the Bhagavad Gita 9.10, the direction of the Lord upon the material nature is described as follows. Maya diyakshena prakriti suyate sarachacharam hetu nanena kunteya jagad viparivartate. The material nature full of physical laws is one of my different energies. Therefore it is neither independent nor blind. Because I am transcendentally all-powerful, simply by my glance over material nature, the physical laws of nature work so wonderfully. The actions and reactions of the physical laws work on that account, and thus the material world is created, maintained, and annihilated again and again.
You want to keep reading?
Men with a poor fund of knowledge, however, become astonished by studying the physical laws both within the construction of the individual body and within the cosmic manifestation. And foolishly they decry the existence of God, taking it for granted that the physical laws are independent, without any metaphysical control. The Bhagavad Gita 9.11 replies to this foolishness in the following words. Avajananti mamuda manusin tanum asritam param bhavam ajanantu mama bhuta maheshwaram. The foolish men, Muda, do not know the personality of God and is in his eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The foolish man thinks of the transcendental body of the Lord as something like his own, and therefore he cannot think of the unlimited controlling power of the Lord, who is not visible in the acting of the physical laws. The Lord is, however, visible to the naked eyes of people in general, when he descends himself by his own personal potency. Lord Krishna incarnated himself as he is and played very wonderful parts as the Lord himself, and the Bhagavad Gita concerns such wonderful actions and knowledge. Yet foolish men will not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Generally they consider the infinite features of the Lord because they themselves are unable to become either the infinitesimal or the infinite. But one should know that the infinite and infinitesimal sizes of the Lord are not his highest glories. The most wonderful manifestation of the Lord's power is exhibited when the infinite Lord becomes visible to our eyes as one of us. Yet his activities are different from those of the finite beings. Lifting a mountain at the age of 7 years and marrying 16,000 wives in the prime of his youth are some of the examples of his infinite energy. But the Mudas, after seeing them or hearing about them, decry them as legendary and take the Lord as one of them. They cannot understand that the Lord Sri Krishna, although in the form of a human being by his own potency, is still the Supreme Lord with full potency as the Supreme Controller.
When, however, the Mudhas give submission and or reception to the message of the Lord, as in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, through the channel of disciplic succession, such Mudhas also become devotees of the Lord by the grace of his pure devotees. And for this reason, only either in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord in the material world are delineated for the benefit of those men with a poor fund of knowledge.
Hare Krishna, Madan Gopal Prabhu.
Hey, nice to see you.
Alright, are we?
Maybe read 2 more.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we started it. You decide.
I think we stop here. It's a natural break.
Okay. But Madam just joined.
Oh, okay, one more then. Text 11.
This one's for you, Madam Gopal.
That Supreme Person is not impersonal and therefore is distinctively a Nara or person. Therefore, the transcendental water created from the supreme Nara is known as Nara.
N-A-R-A is all short A's. Nada.
Nara.
Nada.
Nara.
But
Nara.
in long A, R-A is nada.
Nara.
Not Nara.
And
Nora.
because he lies on that water, he's known as Narayana.
Narayan.
Text 12. One should definitely know that all material ingredients, activities, time and modes, and the living entities who are meant to enjoy them all exist by his mercy only. And as soon as he does not care for them, everything becomes non-existent. Purport. The living entities are the enjoyers of the material ingredients, time, modes, etc. because they want to lord it over the material nature. The Lord is the supreme enjoyer, and the living entities are meant to assist the Lord in his enjoyment, and thus participate in the transcendental enjoyment of everyone. The enjoyer and the enjoyed both participate in enjoyment. But deluded by the illusory energy, the living entities want to become the enjoyer like the Lord, although they are not meant for such enjoyment. The jivas, the living entities, are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as the Lord's superior nature or para-prakriti, and so also it is mentioned in the Vishnu Purana. Therefore, the living entities are never the Purushas or the factual enjoyers. As such, the spirit of enjoyment by the living entity in the material world is false.
Because you can enjoy.
No.
You can sure as heck try, though.
Yeah. In the spiritual world, the living entities are pure in nature, and therefore they are associates in the enjoyment of the Supreme Lord. In the material world, the spirit of enjoyment of the living entities by dint of their own actions, karma, gradually fades by the laws of nature. And thus the illusory energy dictates in the ears of the conditioned souls that they should become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of the illusory energy. When the last illusion is also cleared off by the mercy of the Lord, the living entity again becomes reinstated in his original position, and thus becomes actually liberated. For this attainment of liberation from the material clutches, the Lord creates the material world, maintains it for some time, 1,000 years of his measurement, as stated in the previous verse, and then again annihilates it by his will. The living entities are therefore completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, and all their so-called enjoyments by scientific improvement are crushed into dust when the Lord desires.
Wow. Read that sentence again.
The living entities are therefore completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, and all their so-called enjoyments by scientific improvement are crushed into dust when the Lord desires.
Yeah, I guess so. Nobody wants to get crushed into dust, really, do they?
No, and neither do we want our dreams and hopes and desires
smashed. Okay, so what's your last realization and reflection? Anything?
Yeah, there's no enjoyment in this material world.
Oh, no.
On a material level.
Yes.
But spiritually, you can be blissful in the material world.
Susukam kartam avyayam. This is devotional service is joyfully performed.
Yeah, we're always joyful.
Until we turn off the camera. Okay, thank you all very much for joining.
Yeah,
and,
we keep trying as well, Prabhu. There's always hope.
Praying you and your wife are doing well.
Yes.
And,
come and visit us again.
Well, after lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, please enjoy.
Well, don't enjoy, but.
No, please enjoy the Bhagavatam. Read the Bhagavatam. Remember Krishna in every way, shape, and form. And also, just a reminder that we do have some sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And you said it's where?
From the description box.
Yeah, so if you'd like a set, please let us know. We'll be happy to send a set to you. If you'd like to buy a set as a gift for a friend,
yes,
please let us know, and we can sort that out too. Or if you would like to just sponsor a set, and then we can decide who it goes to, then you can do that as well. And I think there must be a link
Yeah.
in the what's it called, that area down there?
Description.
In the description area. So please do that. All right. Thank you all very much. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.